Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into some really powerful ancient texts, prophecies from Jeremiah.
Yeah, specifically looking at these pronouncements against Egypt and Moab mainly.
And they give us this incredible window, don't they, into the whole geopolitical scene back then, the power struggles in the ancient Near East.
Absolutely. And our mission here, really, for you listening, is to understand those dynamics at play then. How prophecy framed understanding.
Right. We're not trying to draw direct lines to today, but really dig into the historical stuff, the literary context.
Exactly. To grasp what these moments meant, the messages inside these texts, it's a unique chance to examine these accounts.
Okay, so Egypt. Let's start there. Jeremiah 46, verses 2 through 26. It points to a specific event, doesn't it? Carchemish.
The Battle of Carchemish, yeah, big one. On the Euphrates River, this is where Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon defeats Pharaoh Necho's army.
And the text even gives us a date reference, the 4th year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah.
It does, so a major turning point in the region's power balance.
And what's fascinating is how the prophecy describes the buildup, that Egyptian army.
Oh yeah, the text really paints a picture. Verses 3 and 4. Set the buckler and shield, harness the horses, mount the steeds.
Helmets on, spears polished, armor. It sounds incredibly formidable.
All about projecting this almost overwhelming strength. Invincibility, even. But, well, that's not how it plays out.
Right, because then verse 5 hits you with this sudden shift. Why have I seen it? They are terrified, they're retreating.
Their warriors are defeated, taken refuge in flight without facing back. Terror is on every side. It's abrupt.
It really makes you wonder what caused such a complete and swift collapse.
Well, the prophecy attributes it to the Lord's action, but you see the fragility, right? Even for a major power, military might isn't everything.
And then Egypt's own confidence is described, rising like the Nile.
Yeah, verses 7 and 8. Likened to the Nile, surging rivers, boasting, I will rise and cover that land, I will destroy the city. Speaks volumes about their ambition.
And they weren't alone. The text mentions allies.
Right. Cush, Put, the Lydians, kingdoms south and west, identified as shield and bow handlers.
So it shows you the reach of Egyptian influence at the time, that whole network.
A crucial network. And their defeat would have sent shockwaves. The prophecy calls it a day of vengeance for the Lord God of armies.
At the Euphrates, yeah. The sword will devour and be satisfied and drink its fill of their blood. Very stark language.
It underscores that idea of divine judgment being woven into these historical shifts.
And then there's that almost sarcastic call for balm from Gilead for the virgin daughter of Egypt.
Followed immediately by, in vain you have used many remedies, there is no healing for you.
Oof. Powerful metaphor for just how decisive that defeat was. No coming back easily.
And the impact wasn't quiet. Verse 12, the nations have heard of your shame. The earth is full of your cry of distress.
For one warrior has stumbled over another, and both of them have fallen down together. So it's a huge public humiliation.
Absolutely. News travels. And then the focus shifts, doesn't it? To Nebuchadnezzar actually coming into Egypt.
Yeah, proclaiming it in Migdol, Memphis, Tapani's key Egyptian cities.
And this lines up, historically. Carchemish happened, Babylonian expansion happened. The text connects these dots through prophecy.
It asks why Egypt's mighty ones fell and points to the Lord's action.
Reinforcing that theme of divine sovereignty over nations.
And then that pretty blunt assessment in verse 17. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is nothing but a big noise. He has let the appointed time pass by.
Haha, yeah, big noise. Doesn't pull punches. And contrast that with the Lord of armies declaring someone will come, like Mount Tabor or Carmel.
Unmistakable, imposing landmarks, symbolizing the certainty of what's coming.
That's how it reads. Followed by prophecies of exile for the people, desolation for Memphis. Major disruption.
And we get that strange metaphor, Egypt as a pretty heifer.
And Babylon as the horsefly from the north that's coming.
It's vivid, isn't it? Something small and annoying causing massive trouble for something large.
It really is. And it suggests even the mercenaries, the fattened calves, they'll turn and run too. Not reliable when things get tough.
Their retreat is like a serpent slithering away, it says, while the invaders are like woodcutters.
Just relentlessly chopping down Egypt's forest, her strength, her people, even though the invaders seem numberless, like locusts.
A brutal image of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And the outcome.
The daughter of Egypt, shamed, handed over to the northern power, Babylon.
But it doesn't quite end on total destruction, does it?
No, that's crucial. There's punishment declared for Ammon of Thebes, for Pharaoh, Egypt, its gods, its kings, everyone who trusted in Egypt, they're handed to Nebuchadnezzar.
But then
it says, Afterward, however, it will be inhabited as in the days of old, a promise of future restoration for Egypt.
Which is contrasted with the message for Jacob, for Israel.
Exactly. For Jacob, it's, do not fear, I am going to save you. Jacob will return and be undisturbed and secure. A different kind of promise, more immediate security, perhaps.
So judgment, yes, but with nuances. Temporary versus a more enduring hope for Jacob. Interesting. Okay, let's shift. Philistia, Jeremiah 47.
Right, much shorter section here,
Yep.
verses 1 to 7. And it gives us that specific time marker again.
Before Pharaoh conquered Gaza, helps place it.
It does. And the imagery here is potent, too. Waters rising from the north.
That northern thread again, an overflowing torrent engulfing the land.
It's a recurring motif, yeah. And the result is sheer panic. Crying, wailing.
The sound of hoofs, chariots, wheels, and that detail about fathers abandoning children.
Because of the slackness of their hands, the text says, just paralyzed by fear. It paints a picture of total societal collapse.
And its comprehensive destruction for all the Philistines, wiping out allies from Tyre and Sidon too.
Which again shows you those regional connections. Trouble for one meant trouble for others nearby.
Gaza and Ashkelon are specifically named. Boldness, destruction, symbols of mourning and ruin.
Deep shame, yeah. And then it gets really interesting. It addresses the sword of the Lord directly.
Asking how long it'll be active, urging it back into its sheath.
It's this personification of divine judgment as this relentless force. But the last verse clarifies.
It's acting on orders. He's given it an order against Ashkelon and against the seashore.
So not random violence, but directed judgment according to the prophecy.
Okay. Concise but powerful.
Hmm.
Now, Moab, Jeremiah 48. This one's much longer.
Oh yeah, 47 verses of really detailed pronouncement. And it starts right away, no messing around. Woe to Nebo, for it is devastated. Kiriathaim captured.
Devastation, great destruction, brokenness. Even the little ones are crying out.
And you get these vivid scenes of grief, weeping on the ascent of Luhith, anguished cries at Horonaim. It's very evocative.
There's this call to just flee, run for your lives, become like a lone juniper tree in the desert.
Isolated, vulnerable, because it says, Moab trusted in its own works, its treasures. That won't save them now.
Even their god, Chemosh, and his priests are going into exile, a massive blow to their identity.
Right to the core, and the destruction is total. Every city, valley, plateau, no escape.
It even says, give wings to Moab so she can try to fly away, but her cities will be desolate, utterly futile.
And then that really stark verse, verse 10.
Ah, yes. Cursed is the one who does the Lord's work negligently, and cursed is the one who restrained his sword from blood.
It's quite harsh. It speaks to the perceived necessity and totality of the judgment being described.
Then there's this comparison. Moab has been at ease, like undisturbed wine.
Right, settled on its dregs, hasn't been emptied or moved around, meaning maybe hasn't faced major hardship or exile like Israel had.
Complacent.
Perhaps. And because of that, the prophecy says its taste remains. Its scent isn't changed. But that's about to end.
The tippers of vessels are coming to pour Moab out, smash the jars. A violent disruption.
And Moab will be ashamed of Chemosh, just like Israel was of Bethel. Their confidence in their God and their own strength is misplaced.
It mocks their boasts of being warriors.
Yeah, how can you say we are warriors and men competent for battle? Because destruction is coming. Their best young men are headed for slaughter.
The disaster is imminent, catastrophe speeding up. It feels relentless.
It does. And there's this call for surrounding nations to mourn. Lament the broken mighty scepter, the staff of splendor.
Moab's status is gone. Dibon comes down from glory, sits in thirst. Aurora watches, asks the fugitives what happened.
Everyone knows Moab is shamed, shattered, wail, cry out, declare it by the Arnon River.
And then that long list of cities facing judgment. Holon, Jaza, Mepheth, Dibon, Nebo.
Kiriathaim, Beth Gamul, Beth Meon, Kerioth, Bozrah. All the cities, far and near. It emphasizes the scope.
Total. Moab's horn cut off, arm broken. Why?
Because he has become arrogant toward the Lord. That's the reason given, leading to utter disgrace, becoming a laughingstock.
And it remembers Moab's past scorn for Israel. Wasn't he found among thieves? Now the tables have turned.
Exactly. So the advice, leave the cities, live in the cliffs like doves, abandon normal life.
Because Moab's pride is just too much. Pride, haughtiness, arrogance, self-exaltation. The list goes on.
The Lord knows their fury, their empty boasts, it says. They accomplish nothing.
And yet, even amidst this judgment, there's a strange note. The Lord himself wails for Moab.
Yes, Therefore I will wail for Moab. I will moan for all Moab. And for the men of Kirhirs, there's a sense of divine sorrow, even in judgment.
Intense weeping over the lost vines of Sibmah, the destroyed harvests. Economic ruin.
Joy gone from the fields, no shouting from the wine presses, just cries of anguish from Heshbon to Elilah and beyond. Even the waters of Nimrim are desolate.
And the end of the religious practices, no more sacrifices or incense burning on the high places.
Total breakdown. Grief everywhere. Shaved heads, cut beards, gashed hands, sackcloth on housetops and squares.
Moab is like a broken pot nobody wants. Utterly shattered, shamed, a laughingstock and a source of terror.
And here comes that swift attacker again, like an eagle swooping down on Moab.
Kiriath captured, stronghold seized, the warriors' hearts fail, like a woman in labor.
Just overwhelmed by fear and pain. And the final verdict?
Moab destroyed, ceased to be a people. Again, because of that arrogance toward the Lord.
Terror, pit, snare, this inescapable sequence awaits them. Flee one, fall into the next. The year of punishment is set.
Even fugitives reaching Heshbon find no safety. Fire spreads, consumes the leaders, the scalps of the loud revelers.
Woe to Moab. The people of Chemosh perish. Sons and daughters taken captive. It seems utterly final.
But then, just like with Egypt, there's that last verse, verse 47.
Right. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in the latter days. Thus far is the judgment on Moab.
So again, devastating judgment, yes, rooted in their actions and pride according to the text, but not the absolute final word. A future restoration is still mentioned.
It's a recurring pattern in these specific prophecies. Judgment, yes, often severe, but holding out a possibility, however distant, of restoration.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, we've gone through Jeremiah's pronouncements against Egypt, Philistia, and Moab.
And seen this dramatic picture of the ancient Near East during the rise of Babylon. Power shifts, alliances breaking, divine judgment as a framework for understanding it all.
These texts really are a window into the beliefs, the anxieties, the historical realities of that time. The language is so vivid.
It really brings it to life, doesn't it? The rise and fall of nations, the consequences of, well, pride and arrogance as depicted here.
Which leads us to that final thought for you listening. When you consider these ancient words, focusing on power, downfall, consequence, what themes might echo even today?
Yeah, what might these texts suggest about maybe unexpected shifts in power or the enduring consequences of national actions or attitudes? Definitely something to mull over.